So yes, every now and again I do screw up. This is a screw up in itself, but it's a good screw up. So let me explain. So I'm here in the rain doing the splits of this apron. There's actually some good honey here as well. And I've come to this colony. So I'm going through it, selecting two nice frames of bees and brood, and I'm going to find one more. And on the third one, I find a pushing cage. And it's not just a pushing cage, it's a pushing cage with a queen still in. You see how these bees hatched out? They're all dead. And the amazing thing is, there's the queen, and there's the frame of brood. So why is there brood here? So it means they made another queen. And I'm just amazed that she is not dead, because usually she's a goner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this queen and just put her straight in here between the frames in a minute. I'm just going to directly introduce her and close the box up and take that away and mark it. So that's another colony. She will probably be accepted instantly. They may try and supersede her because she may have damaged wings, but I can't really see the wings that well. In my experience, queens of this who've been in a cage this long generally have their wings pretty damaged. So I'm going to take my glove off now, and I'm going to try and, I can see her wings, they still look okay. So I'll take my other glove off, I'm going to lift this cage off, and she might start to run, but I'm going to hopefully grab her if I can keep an eye on her. There's all the dead bees. Oh, the wings are good. So I'm going to introduce her directly into this colony. Go on, dear, you're free. Go and lay in there. And she should be accepted really well anyway, because they know her. Go on. Go on, go on, go on. Stop doing the walk. There we go. Right, she's now in there. Let's see what happens. There's every chance that she'll do really well, but it just shows you, there's the dead bees, look. Ow, I need to remove these because I've just taken my gloves off, so I'm going to probably get stung a lot now. They're a bit feisty because this is an F2 or F3, somewhere in here, and it's also raining, so all the workers are here today. But I'm going to take these dead bees off. I'm going to put this frame into the colony. In fact, when I lift that off, they'll probably just fall off themselves, and they'll clean all that out. But isn't it amazing how you can screw up and sometimes it works? I need to keep better notes of what I put in where. But so far so good. I've done all those down that end, that's 6 that side. Found all the queens, all perfect. Some honey on every colony and loads of bees and brood. And I'm just going to go down this road. Most of these here are good, I think, as well. That's a nuke, a swarm that was in that tree. I put it into a hive. I showed you transferring it over, and I put the nuke into a hive from another one that was over there, and that's done really well. That's full of bees. So I'm going around utilising what I've created this summer, and it's turning out to be quite interesting. So anyway, let's get this finished. Just to show you, I am far from perfect. I need to concentrate on looking after my bees and making notes. Hi everybody, bit of an update for you. You might remember I restocked this whole apiary with a load of brand new nukes, and then I transferred those nukes into hives with some friends of mine who came for the day, which I showed you in a couple of videos ago. And then we put a super on for the honey flow, which was running approximately 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, is now finished. And now I'm here to make splits from these colonies. I'm happy to say, to give you the update, that almost every single one has bees in the super. Not all have given a lot of honey. Some have given a full super, or 3/4 full. Some have given just a tiny bit, but every one of them has bees in their supers. So I'm going to come back in a few days' time and put clearing boards on and harvest all this honey. And at the moment I'm making splits, so I've already done 7. I'm on my 8th now from this colony. And if you look in the top, for example, everyone has bees in the super, which is always lovely to see. Whenever you go to a colony and you lift up your first crown board, or you look in the top and you see bees in the feeder, which means they're in the super, that's a very, very good sign. Immediately you know there's a lot of bees in here. So for me, because I'm taking a split from this colony, I know that when I harvest the honey, there'll be excess bees that are going to go back into the brood box. And that's how I kind of base on all my kind of, not maths, but kind of how I work out how many colonies I might be able to make splits from. So we've got some really strong colonies here, but even though we haven't had, or we haven't got a nectar flow running, these colonies are still flying well. There is a bit of pollen. You see this stuff here, we call it lady's mantle or wild carrot. That's giving a little bit of pollen. We had some rain last night for the first time for ages, some real rain yesterday. I've got another 30 queens waiting at home to be put into nukes that I'm making now, which is great. And this is a great place to make nukes from, because I'm not caging these queens for control against varroa mite, because they're not huge colonies, and they're colonies created this year. So they're young queens. So what I'm doing instead is this type of apiary that has got young queens in, and young colonies will have amitraz as a bit of an experiment, and I'm going to record what I do, but I've got enough amitraz to treat all of these kind of new colonies I made. The older splits and the really early splits I did this year that are now in colonies, they will have their queens caged. As you know, I've been doing that already. So I've done 60 colonies, 60 splits. This is my third lot of queens that I'm doing now that will be going into an apiary this evening or tomorrow. When I leave this apiary tonight, I may have to come back and finish off, because I may not be able to split, because I might not have enough boxes, but I think I've got 17 boxes, which there's always one or two that you can't split, like that top one up there, and that's just beekeeping for you. But when these are done, they'll all be ready then to have a harvest, honey taken off, and then the treatments put in. Obviously, remember, you've got to plan it so you get your treatments in as soon as you can in August. The minute you can, get that honey off. Even if you stack the honey somewhere else, get it off, and then you can get your treatments on. And that's what's important. It's knocking those varroa down as early as possible. August is ideal. September is really too late. You need to have all your varroa control in place by then, or ongoing by then. So these colonies, some of these are really big. I wonder if that one's given me 2 supers. I'll find out shortly. But overall, I'm really pleased, because this is easy to make splits from. You just take the box to the colony next door. You take the bees and brood out. The queens are all marked because they're new queens. You can find the queen, she's bright pink. Bang, bang, bang. You make nukes really quick. So this is a really good day for me to get nukes done. And I will just say this. Look, I filmed last year. Okay, I filmed at this point, and I'll try and find the video. I was standing here last year, this time last year, splitting my colonies, filming a colony here. And the grass was longer and it was much drier, okay? But what I was seeing in front of the colonies was hornets everywhere. And I'll show you that picture now. But what I'm seeing now is no hornets. I'm seeing happy bees that are relatively stress-free. It's not stinking hot. We've had some rain. The ground has a little bit of moisture in it. It's just a lot better. And it's absolutely amazing how in 1 year we can have 2 completely different scenarios. I mean, just look at that. To be able to see all those bees working there on your apiaries, that just gives me, after what was such a bad year last year in terms of demoralization, by the end of the season I was just looking for a way out, and that's what my building gave me. It gave me hope, and I just plunged into that, doing everything I could towards getting that building up. Now it's up and I'm left to sort out the mess, but I've sorted it out with the experience I got from losing bees a couple of years ago, and now it's paid off. I mean, just look at that. That is what you want to see. That is an apiary with new hives, new queens, all accepted, all given a little bit of honey, and they're giving a nuke as well. So next year I'm hoping to have at least 120 nukes to go through the winter, and I'm well on the way to that. And I'm also going to try and do some very late queens, just because I've got one apiary that I literally forgot about that I'd created, that I'm just going to split and give them virgins and see what happens, because there is loads of drones around still. Because the colonies aren't under stress, because the bees are happier, they've not booted out the drones, so we can have another 2 weeks of mating well into mid-August. We are only the last week of July, and that really gives us a bonus this year. And we've had a little bit of moisture, so I'm just being extremely optimistic, but I can be in a year when I know things are so different. And we'll get these all finished today. On to the next apiary tomorrow. I'll do another one. That'll be 2 more done, and I've got more queens coming next Monday. But that's my last load of queens. And at the same time next week, I'm going to raise a batch of queens as well. So that'll be really cool. So we can just stick those cells in the following week. It'll be hard work because it means more and more splitting, and that's all a bit boring this time of year. But unfortunately with beekeeping, things do get a bit repetitive, because if you have a job where your beekeeping has to pay your bills, it's where the money is. You've got to make the money, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to do your splits. But these are just resources now. These are potential energy for next year. As well as a split, you get that colony overwintering well, and you're away. There we go. 16 splits done. I'm very happy. Didn't get too hot. Done in 4 hours. That's a load of queens used up. Another 15 to do tomorrow. And that is that second batch used up. It's just such a bonus. I can't tell you how much of a bonus it is when you get everything done in one afternoon, and it's nice, it's not too hot, the bees are nice. Okay, there's a few flying around, but I mean, most of these are all marked. Almost every single one is marked. I think the one at the top isn't marked now, and even that one at the bottom is marked. That's marked red. I marked her. That's a different swarm. That one there I couldn't find, but I'm pretty sure she's in there because she's not in the box. I mean, what you have to realize is when you have an amount of colonies of bees, you have percentages, and no matter how good your stock are, there'll always be 1 or 2 that don't perform, always be one. It's pretty unlikely that they'll be all perfect. That is the reality of beekeeping. And that's what makes it such fun. It's the challenge to try and keep that uniformity, to be able to go to an apiary and do all your work at once, to be able to produce nukes that are good quality. That's what it's all about. And today I've been able to do that. So now we're going to go back, put these down, go home, come out tomorrow morning on the way to the next lot and give them the queens. Or maybe even come down tonight and put the feeders and the queens on. But they won't be released till Thursday, Friday, well, Wednesday, Thursday next week, 4 or 5 days after they've gone in. So, time to go home. Whatever you're doing, have a good one. So the nuke yard is starting to fill up a bit, which is good. I've got some hives at the back there that got to go out to apiaries. They were the ones I told you that were my last transfers I did before the summer flow. And this last 2 rows are what I made this afternoon. So they're here now ready for queens. So things are really taking shape.